All right, everyone. Welcome back to day three. I think it's day three of the Audiobiz virtual NAMM. We are bringing NAMM to you since you can't go to NAMM this year. I personally would rather be in sunny California right now instead of 19-degree cold Wisconsin. How about you, Brian?
Well, yeah, it's cold and
Yeah.
it snowed yesterday, so that was nice as well, just to really drive it in.
That is true. So a little bit of a housekeeping before we get things kicked off. For this session, we are actually talking with the guys from Audinate, who Audinate might not be a household name, but you know it by the name Dante. They are the creators of the Dante protocol, and we will be talking to a couple of guys from Audinate here about some of the products that they are offering. But just want to remind everyone, this is a interactive session. So if you've got questions, comments, concerns, I guess, you can throw them up on the chat and we'll bring those in and we can have our panel of guests answer those questions. Also, keep an eye out for the secret word of the day. Hey, Brian, what do everyone get when they collect the secret words?
I feel like it's kind of a mystery.
It is a mystery. It is a mystery. It's a mystery box. So make sure you wait to collect those words, those mystery words. If you weren't able to tune in earlier in the week, all of our lives have been posted to our Facebook and YouTube pages and LinkedIn. So you can go in and get those previous mystery words and make sure that you drop those in at the end of the week on our Audiobiz website at audiobiz.com/NAMM 2021, and you will be entered to win a mystery swag box. So some people are wondering what a mystery swag box is. So let me drop a little video in here and then we'll get back to our guests.
So what is a mystery box? We've collected swag from all of our manufacturers, plus some guaranteed prizes that will be in the limited edition Audiobiz NAMM 2021 mystery box. These boxes will be packed at random and filled to the brim with t-shirts, hats, stickers, all the fun swag you'd normally get at NAMM. We've collected from all of our manufacturers. We're gonna pack these at random and send them to you. So all you have to do is collect the 5 secret words. We're gonna drop one every single day. You're just gonna go to this web address, fill out the form, submit your secret words, and be entered to win. So these mystery boxes are limited to the first 30 people that submit the correct 5 secret words. So you don't wanna miss out on the videos and you don't wanna miss your chance to win one of our limited edition mystery boxes. This mystery box could be yours. So heavy. Don't sleep, get a mystery box.
It looks so exciting, doesn't it? Welcome, everyone. So we've got Corey, Luke, and Bernie from Audinate joining us today to talk about the wonderful things that are Dante. So welcome, everyone. I know we got Luke in cold climates like us.
All right, there with you.
Yeah, so that's no fun. Corey and Bernie, where are you hailing from again?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, so I'm south of you. But
okay, so
yeah, I'm in Western Massachusetts, so it's snowing outside here. So
okay, we're all stuck in the crappy cold weather of the wonderful United States. We would all rather be in sunny California at NAMM. Last year was your first NAMM, correct? For you guys, as
second NAMM.
Or second NAMM. Okay, so you've got it down. You know, anyone got any crazy NAMM stories where from previous lives or current life? Anything?
Bernie.
Nothing, it's a family show, right? So
yeah, nothing Bernie can talk about. Awesome. Well, I see we have some musicians here, so that's
I once ended up in a stretch limo with the guys from Queensryche, but that was when I was like a touring musician. We were on to an after party, so
nice.
That was fun.
I got to ride in an elevator once with Doyle from the Misfits, and it was funny because we were staying at one of the hotels near more towards Disneyland, and I was on the elevator with him, and I was wearing a suit, and then there's Doyle just being Doyle.
Yeah.
And the doors open up, and there's a family waiting to get on the elevator, and they just kind of look at like, what is going on? Why? What alternate reality am I in? And that's NAMM. So
Yeah, he is gigantic.
he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
I was feeling small next to him.
Yeah, Corey actually has some interesting stories involving a restroom and certain musical performers.
Oh, stop it. No, but actually, at
Several
NAMM,
of them actually.
so the same NAMM that Doyle was there. Did you see there was a lady that had hair that, I'm not kidding you, was rainbow colored, and it was probably 3 feet high, 3 feet wide, and it's just rainbow colored, and people were having their picture taken with her, and that was all they wanted to do.
It's the fun thing about NAMM, the just interesting people that show up. We'll put it that way.
That was going to be my booth outfit this year.
Darn it, Bernie! Oh well. Yeah. I see.
You could have at least worn it to this, right?
So Corey, looks like you're a bass player. So are we gonna make like bass player jokes now?
Let's hope not. But
Okay. All right. And we got a drummer. We got Luke, who is a very accomplished drummer, I must say.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and then we got Bernie, who's learning the drums. I take it. That's
more of a guitar player learning the drums.
Yeah, he's a guitar player. So,
and then
Is that
Brian,
for comedic effect? When you get a good one-liner, you can just reach back and.
Yes, exactly, during training.
Bernie, that's a great idea. You need to. Perfect.
This is awesome. See, this is the perfect reason why we had you guys on. So,
if I were younger, I could probably reach back. But,
You're getting physical therapy after just that.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, a lot of people might not know the name Audinate, but they definitely know the name Dante. We've it's been synonymous, for audio transport, in the industry for the last several years now. We use it in a lot of the Audiobiz products that we represent. So we love talking about Dante all the time. So you guys want to give us a little brief history of, kind of the origin story of Audinate, how it came about?
So from well, let's just start with the technology in general. So there's about 500 manufacturers that have Dante in their products. There's a little over 2,000, actually almost 3,000 products available on the market that you can purchase. The thing that makes Dante in general so powerful is the fact that if it says Dante on the product, it is 100% compatible with any other product that says Dante. So it's guaranteed interoperability among products, among different manufacturers. So now you can take a best of breed approach and say, this is my favorite microphone, this is my favorite DSP, this is my favorite amplifier, and so forth, all the way down to the speaker. And you can have, digital audio, Dante based, from the microphone all the way to the speakers, and distribute that anywhere that the network goes. So that's what Dante's original inception, why it was created in the first place, was to allow that interoperability among manufacturers.
Yeah, and we actually could probably give a shout out to Motorola for being the place where some of our founding, our Aidan Williams, our president, and several other of the early leadership team came from Motorola. They were working there at a research center in Sydney on networking. And Aidan is a musician, and, kind of realized that at the time, CobraNet was the go-to audio networking platform. There was Ether Sound as well. But when Motorola closed that research center down there, they got a grant from the Australian government and actually, took this, concept of building the next generation audio platform based on gigabit. So that's kind of how it all started. And I think the first use was like in 2007 or 2008 at a Barbra Streisand concert somewhere with the Dolby Lake processor. So
awesome.
Yeah, and you guys have been charging headfirst into software-based solutions now as well, after traditionally being a hardware product, right?
That is correct. So traditionally, a manufacturer, if they wanted to put Dante in their product, they would purchase chips to be able to do that. And those chips would range anywhere from 2 channels all the way up to hundreds of channels. So now if they want to, a manufacturer can download Dante software directly to their products. The product has to be able to meet specific requirements, the hardware does. But yeah, it's becoming much easier for manufacturers to put Dante into their products now.
Cool.
So I've always wanted to know this. How did they come up with the name Dante? Like, what, what's the meaning behind that? There's got to be a story.
Well, so what I've always heard, I was told is not true. So
okay, there's a little bit of folklore.
yeah,
People will say, "Oh, digital audio networking through Ethernet." Oh, Dante. That's where I think that came up with. But I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I was told that's false. But yeah, originally I was told that it stood for digital audio networking through Ethernet. But yeah, that's folklore, like you said. Since then, I've been told that that's not true.
I think we should start some new rumors.
I think we should. Okay. We need to find out the story. There has to be a story. I mean, it's a very unique name. I'm going with something from like Dante's Inferno, like somebody was reading some dark historical literature or something like that and decided to go there. But we'll see. There's a new rumor. That's what we just started.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you that there's a lot more to it, but I'm not sure there actually is.
It's just a random name. All right. Okay, cool. And to keep this lighthearted, since we're all most of you guys are musicians, I am not a musician. I have to ask this question: if there is any band, living or in the past, that you would have play at your funeral, who would it be?
Ooh.
Oh, see, this stumps everyone. You got to think about it.
You made this really heavy at your funeral.
At your funeral, you got to go deep. Go dark, broody.
That way we can bring it back later on.
Exactly. I'll kick it off because I've asked this question before, and I said the band Gogol Bordello because they are kind of a crazy gypsy rock band that it would be fun. It would be a celebration of life. Happy times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if I could go back and choose so I was a huge fan of a band that most people have never heard of from the early 90s. They were called the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies.
Okay.
And that would probably be who I would choose. If I got a second pick, it might be Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Solid.
I would kind of stick in your neck of the woods in terms of the intent, and I would bring like Stanton Moore, like one of his jazz groups, to just come and turn it into a big like New Orleans funeral. You know what I mean?
There you go. Bernie?
I don't know. I mean, part of me would think Black Sabbath might be
that's a good one too.
Good choice. Yeah,
my plan would be Parliament Funkadelic. I almost forgot about George Clinton.
George Clinton.
Solid. That would be a solid one. So cool. Well, one of the newer products that Audinate has come out with is Dante Domain Manager, which I kind of wanted to touch on. We've got a short video we can play here that kind of gives a little brief overview. But let's talk about that. I'm going to drop this video here, and then we'll all come back in and talk a little bit more about Dante Domain Manager.
Dante is the de facto standard for audio connectivity adopted by hundreds of professional AV manufacturers worldwide. As AV and IT technologies are merging, industry professionals expect the same level of management for AV as their other systems. Dante Domain Manager is a revolutionary enterprise-wide management platform specifically engineered to secure, scale, and manage Dante audio systems. By allowing you to divide your system setup, Dante Domain Manager ensures users only have access to the devices they need. You can secure audio networks from accidental changes, control who can make modifications, and manage the health and security of your audio networking in real time. With visibility of the status of networked audio devices, you have detailed logging and reporting on events and changes, all via a simple, configurable web interface. Scale and segment audio systems, grouping devices together, regardless of network infrastructure. Dante Domain Manager. It's all you'll ever need for complete AV network control.
Awesome. Well done. Very good.
Wow.
You guys,
I've never seen that
great
video before.
Well, there you go. See, this is a perfect lead in. Obviously, Dante Domain Manager is kind of a huge product arena for doing these large deployed network systems. So you want to give us a little bit of an overview of kind of like how you're seeing that being used and what applications. And Brian gets calls all the time, being our tech guy, asking about these wonderful technologies, and I am gladly able to turn all those technical networking questions over to him.
So Dante Domain Manager does give you centralized management, monitoring, and security, as you saw in the video. But the centralized portion is it's critical to a lot of people. In other words, they can sit at their desk and know what's going on with all of their Dante devices everywhere around the network, and/or groups of Dante devices. Meaning, so if we took like a higher education, for instance, if we took a college campus, I could sit at my desk and know that all the audio devices in the theater, are they up? Are they running? Are they working? Are all the audio devices at the stadium? Are they all up? Are they running? Are they working? Same thing with the nursing building, the history building, and so forth. But I'd get a globalized view of all my Dante networks. So it's not just a specific Dante network. It could be all my Dante networks across the network. And I know the health of everything at any given time based on the dashboard. And then if I want to take that information and look at audit logs and look at what people have done, I can do that. If I want to look to see what errors and issues equipment have had over time, I can do that. It just gives me the ability to efficiently know what's going on at all times with my environment.
And as the person being in charge of the system, there's notification options as well, right? So if you're not actually sitting there in front of the desk at a house of worship or at a school, you can solve an awful lot of problems and prevent some just remotely.
Yeah, so you can have one, there's the dash. So there's 3 different ways right now that you can be alerted. The first is on the dashboard. If something happens, it immediately shows up, the error. And when that happens, you can have an email sent to you letting you know that there's an issue with a specific device or a specific area. And then if you're using a third-party management system, whether it be an IT service management type of platform, or it might be a traditional AV type of platform that I'm using to monitor all my other equipment out there, I can pass SNMP information from Dante, from all my Dante devices, and/or from Dante Domain Manager off to that third-party system.
And there's email alerts as well. Or did you already say that? Okay,
Yeah.
One thing I would, a traditional Dante network, everything had to be in the same subnet, and for the longest time, and people would make very large systems, whether it's a house of worship or a stadium or theater and such. But a couple things that we added with DDM is you're now able, in a DDM environment, you can have devices live in those different subnets. So you truly have a routed, network, as Corey was saying. And, the other thing too is the DDM works in conjunction with Dante controller. The big difference is now people got to log in, because in a traditional Dante network, if in like a house of worship, you have lots of volunteers. Well, if those people decide to take one of the Dante training courses and they learn enough, maybe they learn enough to be dangerous, and they download the Dante controller software, they can if they have access to the network, they can go in and make changes. Typically, all the people that have Dante controller maybe have taken the course and understand what they can and cannot touch. But, adding a DDM to your system kind of locks down the network from a security perspective, in addition to letting you create separate systems or Dante domains and, isolate those and only authorize who can see what. And, the DDM server, by the way, is not in the audio signal path in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So if the DDM were to go offline, your audio still works. You just lose the ability to access it in Dante controller because you use the DDM server to log in. But we have solutions to allow, high availability or multiple DDM servers to exist on a network. So
Well, one of the things that all three of you just kind of touched on was like those notifications, the emails. The fact that you can find out ahead of time that you have an issue with your system as opposed, or with a specific piece of equipment, as opposed to having to find out during a church service or during a very critical meeting. I mean, that is really a game changer as somebody who's been that technician who's actually had to go out and service something at really inopportune times. To be able to stay ahead of the situation, monitor the system, remotely and extremely efficiently, the way you guys described. So I think it's a huge advantage that way.
Yeah, one of the things, Luke, that you just mentioned from that reporting capabilities and the alerting, if you're an integrator, for instance, that is providing a managed service for your customer, for the end user, for that company, you have the ability to take all the information from Dante, from those different Dante devices in your customer's environment, and push that back to your dashboard. So now you know what's going on at the environment you're managing for your customer. Before they even know that there's an issue, you're going to know about it on your dashboard.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, it seems like, in the beginning, we always had like the smaller Dante networks of, okay, here's a mic connected to a console or something like that. But now systems have gotten so huge, of, campus wide stuff and being able to route audio everywhere that, yeah, it is really super important to be able to manage all of that network traffic and be able to see what's going on. And it's interesting. We're at an interesting time in the industry of there's a bunch of audio people that are now becoming IT people and IT people that are coming audio people. It's very interesting. Now we don't have to just learn how to, plug in an XLR. It's how you have to configure a switch and do all of this craziness. So it's interesting times. We've got a webinar that you guys are actually hosting next week on Tuesday, 10 p.m. or not 10 p.m., 10 a.m. Central. That'd be a late
10 p.m.
late webinar. But you guys are, actually talking about how schools are using Dante for safe remote rehearsals. You want to give us a little, sneak preview of like, some of the things you're going to be talking about in there?
Yeah, I'll let Bernie take that.
Okay. So, what we're really building on is the fact that, with let's say high school or any music education program, and again, it can not only be band instruments, but any large number of musicians that need to get together and practice and or rehearse or perform, you gotta stay 6 feet apart, etc. So what typically happens is, now you've got to use multiple rooms in order for like the high school band to practice together. And what we're stressing is that Dante can be the solution to that. So you can not only keep practicing, but also do performances and so forth, and whether they're streamed and such. But really what it's all about is kind of borrowing from the recording industry, where you would have isolation booths, right? You'd have a separate control room. The drummer has their own booth. You have a vocalist booth. Everyone maybe has a monitoring system, whether they're using headphones or speakers, and you're all interconnected. Well, you're using the Dante network for your audio distribution. You're basically taking you can have that Allen and Heath mixer and some stage boxes here in the main orchestra room, where you've got your woodwinds all spread out, and then in another room down the hallway you've got let's say the brass and so forth. Again, maybe a stage box is down there, and they're using speakers on sticks with little AVO interfaces to get audio to some, for monitoring and so forth. But anyways, there's obviously microphones involved in proper mic placement, but you're creating a lot of mixed minuses so that these musicians can, play sort of just like in that studio environment. So the point of the whole presentation is it can be done very affordably, a lot more affordably than people realize. So
yeah.
Bernie, can I almost ask a follow-up to that? Just because coming from, I've only been with the organization for a few days now. But one of the things that's always impressed me about the technology was the latency. So that's when you start talking about ISO booths and connecting rooms that are even in different parts of the building or even across campus. One of the things that has always blown my mind from the outside was the extremely low latency that you can achieve in utilizing Dante.
Yeah, and the low latency of a Dante network is key because all latency adds up. You have latency in the analog to digital conversion, the mic pre, outside the network. And, so with Dante, you can have a low latency network. And this is one of the reasons why during our presentation, if you join in on it next Tuesday, we talk about how, in this application using virtual sound card or Dante via software, computer-based Dante products is probably not the best way to go because those actually have higher latency settings. The minimal latency setting on a virtual sound card is 4 milliseconds, whereas a Brooklyn 2 card in a Allen and Heath console or a wireless microphone receiver can have a latency setting as low as 250 milliseconds. So, 250 microseconds, I'm sorry. So, and our AVIO devices, they have a latency setting of 1 millisecond. The bottom line is the Dante hardware devices have much lower latency settings than virtual sound card and Dante Via. So, we're trying to clarify in the minds of, all these people out there that are trying to have band rehearsals or teach music, have a rehearsal using Zoom. And they don't understand, the latency kills them. And with Dante, it's all about precise timing, low latency. It's consistent, and consistency is key in music, with the exception of jazz.
Very true.
Yeah,
I love it.
We definitely want to hear more about those interfaces. But before that, Sean, did you say something like mystery?
Yes, we do have our secret word here, but before we get into that, I just want to remind everyone, if you do want to join us on the Dante webinar next week, again, it's 10 a.m. Central Time. The link to register for that has been on the screen for a little bit here while Bernie was telling us about that. So we'd love to have you join on that and learn about how Dante can help you out in your system, so we are going to drop the secret word again. Just remember to catch all of the secret words this whole week and drop them in the website at audiobiz.com/NAMM 2021 at the end of the week to win a mystery swag box. So let's get into what the word of the day is. The secret word is hand sanitizer.
That's 2 words.
That's 2 words.
Well, that is true, but
Mystery words.
I'm sorry, we failed.
I thought we were supposed to work the mystery word into our.
Yeah, well, we don't want to be too hard, but the mystery word hand sanitizer. It's a requirement of the current times, but it's always a requirement at trade shows. You don't want to get the NAMM thrax or anything, the NAMM thrax. So you guys you kind of touched on a couple different things there, Bernie. You were talking about software, virtual sound card, which is one of the things that is going to be in our mystery swag boxes. You guys have donated a bunch of virtual sound cards for us.
Well, now it's not a mystery anymore.
Well,
Yeah, great.
But the other thing that we talked about was your AVIO devices. So these are some hardware devices that allow you to get different signals onto the network. And you guys have a bunch of those, and you've got some two new ones that were recently announced. So you want to give us the rundown on those guys?
So the 2 new adapters that were recently announced are a Bluetooth adapter, and that is 5.0 Bluetooth, by the way, and then a USB-C adapter. So now you'll be able to take, with the push of a button on the Bluetooth, you can connect your mobile device or whatever to Bluetooth, which will then be connected directly to the Dante network. From a USB-C, you'll be able to turn your computer, if it's got a USB-C device, directly. You can take audio in and out via that port, and you can take it out to the Dante network, or you can take audio from the Dante network into your computer. Both of those devices are, the USB-C is 2 channels in and 2 channels out. The Bluetooth is, might just be single channel in and single channel out, I believe. Bernie, you know that for sure?
I think it would be 2 channel.
Is it? Okay, it might be 2. I don't remember off the top of my head, actually.
I'm almost positive it's 2
But it
channel.
starts shipping next month, so
Yes, right around the corner. You guys also have some other different formats in those Avio devices. You've got analog, in, out, AES. You've got a lot of different options there, and they're really cool kind of trouble savers, I guess you would say. I'm going to share my screen here and just pop one up so people can kind of see what they are. Let me see if I can do this without doing something crazy here. So, hey, look, okay. So there's one of the Avio devices. They're pretty small devices. They're all powered via PoE. Is that correct?
Yes.
So it makes it super easy, just one network connection out to those devices. So these devices really come in handy, especially, with like analog amplifiers and things like that didn't necessarily have a digital transport, but now you can start bringing all of these things into a Dante network. So that's pretty awesome. And they're super affordable.
Well, yeah, it's a great way. I mean, like with wireless microphones, we had the Spectrum, the Spectrum sale, and 600 megahertz go away. So a lot of people bought wireless microphones, but typically you would see Dante only be offered on the kind of the upper tier of microphone manufacturers, wireless microphone manufacturers product line. But you can use these Avio devices to take that single or dual channel wireless mic receiver and make it appear on the Dante network. So very cost effective.
Yeah, I really feel like with the group that we have on, it illustrates it perfectly, right? We have musicians on here. We have systems integrator types. We have live sound professionals. I mean, these are really devices that every group can use, and with their availability and the cost, I would recommend anyone that's, in the industry, even remotely, it's a great thing to have in your toolbox.
Yeah, you just mentioned a great thing, because and I'll just say from an integrator standpoint, having one of these in your toolbox, if you will, while you're on site, it makes for easy troubleshooting. It makes for easy, knowing what's going on. Can I pass audio from here to here as a test? Throw one of these on there. Yes, I can do it. There's lots of different things that you can do with these devices. But the original intention is to be able to take analog gear and make it become part of your Dante network, right? It doesn't have to be a migration to Dante, doesn't have to be a rip and replace all equipment. These devices give you the ability to take some of your existing equipment and then also at the same time add a Dante network.
Yeah, you want to hear a marketing slogan that I came up with that?
Oh my gosh.
Avio, the gateway drug to audio over IP.
I like it. That should be a t-shirt. I like that one. I like that one.
Now you know why it was actually never adopted.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not in marketing.
The marketing team won't like that one, but I don't know. I kind of dig it, So
Yeah, I did.
So, one more musician question for everyone. Is there anyone that you have ever wanted to, like, if you could perform with anyone or record an album with anyone, who would it be?
If I could record an
album. I'm making all the hard questions.
Yeah, let's go with yours.
Oh, man,
you had time to think about this. What's yours?
With an individual or a band?
It could be anything.
Like, it's such an obvious answer, but ever since seeing the documentary Sound City, I'm gonna say Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Like that guy would just walk into the room and just be like, "Hey, let's jam," and start, and you'd end up with something that is solid gold 45 minutes later.
So there's a company that has a virtual reality system, and with their virtual reality, you can actually get on stage with Paul McCartney, and you can play all the different instruments. And or you can sit right next to him while he's playing the piano, and you can sit on the seat next to him with Paul McCartney. It's actually pretty cool. I saw that once, actually in LA.
That's pretty
awesome. So Corey, who would you perform with?
Man, I'd love to perform with Eddie Van Halen and play with Van Halen. I mean, that would be one I would choose.
Good choice. I don't know. I would have to go with Led Zeppelin. Sorry.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah, I think it'd be fascinating to be in the studio with Mike Patton, because he's just a guy who you know, he did tours singing 50s Italian pop songs. And then, of course, you know, Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. To get inside of his head would be scary, but also I think a pretty good time.
Ooh, playing with Rage Against the Machine would be cool too.
That would be a good one. Yeah. See, mine, I'm a huge Queens of the Stone Age fan. So I have been, luckily in a previous life, was able to go visit the Pink Duck Studios a couple times and talk with them about microphones and get a glimpse. But it was really cool to see. You know, I don't want to equate them to the Beatles, but Josh, you know, Hami is really into recording. But it was kind of cool because we were talking about mics, and it was just interesting to see how they're using the mics and different techniques. And it kind of takes you back to, you see some of the documentaries of like, oh, you know, we're going to try miking, you know, the bathroom wall to get this sound, you know. So it's cool to see, you know, kind of how people are using that and experimenting.
Putting a small diaphragm condenser inside of a Coke bottle, a glass Coke bottle, and singing into that. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the things I would, you know, when I was in like high school, you know, I would read, you know, Guitar Player magazine or International Musicians, some magazine. Well, Guitar Player still around, International Musician isn't, but there were all these stories of like, you know, the different techniques people would use to get the sound, you know, on their albums and so forth. I mean, Mix magazine is, you know, was always a resource, but I just love that. So
it's kind of sad because we have all these cool things now with, you know, plugins, and you just need a computer to do everything. But like, you know, if you think about, you know, not that long ago, it was, you had to create the things to get the sound that you wanted. So that, you know, I wish more people would do that and experiment more.
Yeah, that's one of the things with our industry. I remember I was at a Pro Sound and Light show in Guangzhou, China, several years ago, and over there, with regards to SPL levels for a booth,
doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. So you're walking around and there's all these bands on little stages performing, and what was in, yeah, and these loudspeaker manufacturers, you know, you want to show how great they sound, but you know, all the instruments were basically electronic. You know, you've got the electronic drum kit, you've got the keyboard, you know, so no one knows what like a violin or a saxophone sounds like, or a drum. I guess I sound very old.
In my day,
that's why I didn't buy an electronic kit. I bought a real drum set. It's not a real drum set. It's
okay.
Exactly. You know, there's you know, it is an interesting time. You know, we're talking about digital audio transport, yet we're ragging on the digital instruments. But
well, you know, the thing is it's like, you know, with you know, it is the digital audio transport that allows you to do so much these days. I mean, when you look at like what a house of worship can do with very little money. I mean, being able to have, you know, a front of house monitor, a separate mixing console, or a DAW for, you know, streaming, you know, or broadcast even, you know, it you know, 20 years ago, that would have been, you know, $500,000 worth of gear, and weighed quite a bit with just the number of multi-core snakes and
things, a lot of copper and a lot of soldering. Yeah. And that's, I mean, that is an area where we're talking, you know, a lot right now, especially just with the, you know, the current times of isolation and everything. You know, we are seeing that a lot in the house of worship, that are, you know, people are like, okay, we're doing a broadcast suite now, because we've all realized that, you know, maybe what we were doing before from mixing in the room wasn't the best thing. So, you know, to do Dante, to be able to do those splits for monitors in front of house and recording, and, you know, send it around into the DSP to go other places in the building, it's pretty cool. We're living in exciting times, you know?
Yeah, there's so what, just to kind of circle back to one of the original conversations about Dante and, you know, what it was created for and things like that. The ability to go from the stage to the guy that's running sound in back, right, which is traditionally a big, thick snake of cables, and we turned it into a single Cat5 cable that goes from the stage to the sound guy. That was one of the original intentions, was to be able to do that, and be able to do it with different manufacturers and things like that. So It's interesting that we just kind of circled back.
And on behalf of everyone that's pulled apart a transformer-driven stage split,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And as a live sound guy that doesn't have to carry a giant snake of copper, and it's just one reel. Way we go. So that's thank you on behalf of everyone. So. Awesome. Well, it looks like we are about the end of our time here. So I just want to thank you guys for joining us on our virtual NAMM and talking gear and some fun things like that. And we will be doing more episodes of these, throughout the year. So we'll love to have you guys on and, ask you more tough musician questions and learn about all the new technologies that you guys are coming out with. So I appreciate you guys making the time to be on the show with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and if anyone,
well done, really well.
Awesome. And if anyone has any questions about Dante or Audinate or wants demos, more information, you can reach out to us at audiobiz.com, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. So, thanks again for joining the broadcast.
Yeah, take care.